Oh, it's got a nice turning circle. I like that. Out this way. Nice turning circle, excellent visibility. Now I just need to get out of the car park. And I don't think I'm getting out there. There is a new electric car that has caused quite a lot of excitement around the Electrifying office. And judging by the amount of emails and comments on social media that we've had from you lot, it's quite clearly a big deal for you too. But it's not the 2,000 brake horsepower Lotus Evija or the rather swoon-worthy Pininfarina Battista. It is this, the Skoda Enyaq. And I'm here at Skoda's HQ where we have just 3 hours with a left-hand drive version to give you an early lowdown. So what are we waiting for? Let's go. And while I say hello to the Enyaq, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, please share, and of course switch your notifications on so you know when all our videos have landed. Right then, 3 hours and counting, so what have we got? Well, it's obviously a spacious family car with a sensible all-electric range. Now it uses all the same bits that the VW ID.4 does, but it's actually cheaper, a bit more practical, and promises to be more efficient too, which if you're new to electric cars matters a lot. And all of that must cause some pretty awkward conversations in the VW Group canteen, because this, first impressions, is that it is a very good car and one that I can see lots of you driving.
Now you have to admit, this is a good looking car. It also has a top range of up to 333 miles and the cheapest models are around £32,000 once you've taken off the government grant.
It's really very spacious in here. I mean, just look at all the room you've got in the back, for example. And what I like is the flat floor. It's one of the great things about electric cars because you don't need somewhere to keep all the gubbins for the engine and the gearbox that you do in a conventional car. There's nice storage compartments. You've got enough charging capability. Overall, top marks for the Enyaq for a very family-friendly backseat.
And in the boot, it's big. 585 litres with the seat up, which is bigger than the Mustang Mach-E or the ID.4. This can be extended to a whopping 1,710 litres with the rear seats down. Doesn't mean anything, that does it? Who talks in litres? But trust me, that's huge and is actually more spacious than the largest Volvo estate.
So here in the front, I like the interior. It feels like a nice place to be. It's comfy. Don't forget, this model has had all the bells and whistles thrown on it, but all models get this sort of central screen, which is really straightforward, really easy to use. And there are some physical buttons too, which I do like. There's a second sort of smaller screen here that shows all the key information that you need to know. And again, I like the fact that you can charge 2 phones side by side in there. That's really handy. And there's storage dotted around the place. Apart from my major gripe, my Chili's mug doesn't fit in the cup holders. It's not that big, they're tiny. So I've got to kind of wedge it in there. Materials. First sight of this, and as I've said, we've only got a couple of hours with it, it feels a little bit nicer than the ID.4. There's just a bit of scratchy plastic down here though, where you open and close the car all the time. I know that's an area that gets loads of wear and tear, but it's the main touch point and it would be nice if that felt slightly plusher. And the runners on the seats aren't covered either, which is a little bit cost conscious. But I think overall, this is a really nice place to be. In terms of battery and range, you can choose from 2 pack sizes, 58 kilowatt hour and a 77 kilowatt hour, which Skoda confusingly calls the 60 and the 80. Now the smaller one uses a 178 brake horsepower motor, about the same as an old 2-litre petrol or turbo diesel, and it has an official range of 256 miles on a single charge.
Now the bigger 77 kilowatt hour model we have here produces 201 brake horsepower and, in theory, returns at 333 miles on a single charge. Both are 2-wheel drive only, with the power going to the rear wheels. Okay, so far so good. Now let's have a look at the range and the prices. Skoda is taking this opportunity to ditch all the usual trim levels. Instead, you choose your battery, your interior, and then your equipment. So basically you can have the kit you want rather than the stuff that someone in the marketing department thinks you'll want. Such a better idea.
Now the top versions with the fanciest interiors go up to £43,000. It's a bit punchy, isn't it? In fact, this car is the most expensive Skoda ever. The one I have here is called the Suite, as in the kind of hotel room you'd like to stay in rather than the 1970s glam rockers. And this car has all the options on it. If it were that luxury hotel room, it would definitely have its own butler. Probably somebody to bring you breakfast in bed too. If you went into a showroom and ordered this exact car, the dealer would probably be able to retire, because with all the bells and whistles, this one costs, wait for it, £53,000. Yeah, let's start a conversation about that one in the comments below. So, is it worth it? Well, look, it's a really good car, but I just can't imagine there are going to be too many people ticking all the option boxes as whoever went wild with the Skoda configurator did with this one. What you've got to do is choose carefully and compare the Enyaq to rivals. You know, when it comes to like equipment, be restrained, folks. Don't go for everything. So first impressions out on the road are that the performance is really well judged for a family car. It's absolutely fast enough. You just don't need it to be too quick like some of its rivals. And yes, I'm thinking of you, Volvo XC40 Recharge. You just don't need a family SUV to be able to do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, in my opinion. I think it's just a bit daft. Now, the huge 21-inch wheels on this version look great, and they give the steering a really nice sharp feel, but that lack of squishiness and the low-profile tyres mean that you really do feel the lumps and bumps, and we reckon that they will also impact on efficiency too. Now, this car should be getting 333 miles from a full battery, which works out at an impressive 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, that's actually better than the VW ID.4, which could only manage 310 miles. Although we struggled to get anywhere near that when we tested it. And first impressions of the Enyaq are that it may also suffer from an overly optimistic efficiency claim. But we'll give you a full report on that as soon as we've had one for more than just a couple of hours.
This particular car has the £1,000 option of a heat pump added, which makes it more efficient when it's cold outside. Now, that is standard on some rivals like the Nissan Ariya and even the Nissan Leaf. And I reckon it's worth having if you regularly intend to go on longer journeys and don't fancy wearing a coat in winter just to save a few extra miles. And when you come to charge, the Enyaq takes between 6 and 8 hours on a home wall box, depending on the battery size.
If you're out and about and need a rapid charge, then both models only take a 50 kilowatt-hour DC feed as standard, which seems a little pedestrian by 2021 standards. You can upgrade that to a faster 100 kilowatt charge for the smaller battery and 125 kilowatt for the larger one, but it will cost you £440, which I reckon is a bit mean. But if you do, it will mean that you can charge from 10 to 80% in 38 minutes, which means you'll be able to top up and go while you grab a coffee. And as someone who has spent far too many hours of my life charging cars at very slow speeds, trust me when I tell you, it will be money well spent. So the big question is, are we disappointed? Are we happy? Is it a better car than the ID.4 and the Mach-E? Has it been worth the wait? Well, it drives brilliantly. Look, it's not as exciting as the Ford, and I don't think the big wheels on this model help with the refinement, but this is a really relaxing car and it performs effortlessly. And from what I remember of the ID.4, the Skoda has probably got the edge dynamically. Just handled really nicely, it's got a good turning circle, and it seems a nice car to whiz around town in. All in all, it just does what it's been made to do very, very well.
I also love the interior on this one too, and think the quality is good enough to impress us, which isn't something we can say about the VW and some of the rivals. Look, it's still not perfect in places. It certainly doesn't feel as pared back as the ID.3 and the ID.4. It's also hugely practical inside, and we think the performance is just right for a family car. Incredibly well judged, not too slow, and not ridiculously, unnecessarily fast like some electric family cars. All in all, it's a pretty good package.
Now, when it's priced as highly as this particular car, though, it does start to go up against some really stiff competition. And even further down the range, you do need to check the comparison charts really carefully to see exactly what you're getting for your cash. you start ticking a few option boxes, it doesn't seem quite the bargain that we first thought it would be. But if you choose the right model for you, select your options to tailor your lifestyle and driving pattern, and we reckon this could well be the best electric family car you can buy, and that is a reason to get excited. A full test with all its rivals is coming soon to the channel, so go on, click that subscribe button.
If you like the look of the Skoda Enyaq, then you should check out the competition. Take a look at our video of the VW ID.4, and the Mustang Mach-E is well worth considering too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and switch all those notifications on.